So hope my screen is visible to you, right? Please confirm both the audio and video are clear. Please confirm. I request everyone to respond. Please confirm audio and video are clear. Yeah, if you are facing any problem, just log out and log in one more time. Okay. Yeah. So just let me go with some kind of revision. The things which we discussed in the last class, just we will revise for a few minutes and then we will continue. Sir, here, yeah, let me introduce myself. Why? Because the new people are there in this session. So my name is K. Prakash Babu, having almost 12 years of experience as a technical trainer. So specialized trainer in C, Java, and Python. Okay, and I hope you are having this link. Okay, so this is nothing but our syllabus which we are going to organize in this 5 weekends. Then yeah, so then in the last session just we had a discussion about few important terminologies. So in that first we discussed about programming language. So what is mean by programming language? Here with the diagram I explained the main role of the programming language is nothing but basically it is a software which is used to convert human readable code into mission understandable code. Sir, if anything, if you are writing any program, that program will be converted into mission understandable code. Why? Because the mission has to execute the instructions. That's why. So the code which is written by the programmer or user has to be converted into mission understandable code. So such type of conversion can be done by using this programming language software, which is also called as encoding. So same thing, after understanding the instructions which has given by the programmer by the mission has to process the instruction. Again, the mission has to send the information to the human. But make sure a mission can understand only zeros and ones. So we can't understand the mission code. That's why again it has to perform one more translation. That is, it will convert mission code into human understandable code. So this is called as something like decoding. So here the main purpose of the programming language is nothing but it will act as an interface between human and then mission. So if you are giving any instruction or if you are receiving any instruction, then you should be in a position to understand. So such type of communication is possible by using this programming language. Just to act as a communication medium between human and then machine. Then, sir, we have seen types of programming languages. So, do you know there are three types of programming languages? First one is called as low level. So, low level means internally our programming language is responsible to communicate with the remaining resources. What we can call it as a memory or processor or external devices or memory management. Everything we have to take care. So, example, microprocessor, microcontrollers programming or assembly level programming. Even C language is also example for low level. So why we have seen, so C language means scanner percentage D comma ampersand here. Here have you observed ampersand means the programming language will search for a memory location. So that means manually we have to give the instruction where to store the instruction. I mean where to store the content. So something like it is related to the pointers. So these things, if any programming language is supporting these facilities, then we can call that particular programming language as a low level programming language. Then high level. For high level, this much cinema won't be there. Just no need to communicate with the IO or memory or external devices. Just we need to write the code, that's all. Our job is to write the code, that's all. So no need to communicate with IO or memory or any other external resources. So just the software will take care of each and everything. Everything will be taken care by this particular software. So such a type of technology, if you want, actually you can choose this high level programming. Nowadays almost all the programming languages are coming with this feature. Now, so C, C++, Java, Python, all these are examples for high level languages. If you see, C language will comes under low level as well as high level. That's why C is called as a middle level programming language. Why? Because it is supporting the features of both low level as well as high level. Now, so C with pointers. If you are writing any program with the help of pointers, then it is called as a low level. If you are writing C language program without using any pointers concept, then it is called as high level programming language. So this is about what we discussed regarding programming language and the types of programming languages. Up to this, do you have any doubts? Please confirm through chat window, especially for the new persons. Especially for the new persons. Is there any doubt? If you have any doubts, you can ask through chat window. Yeah, I request every new person to communicate. Yes, Shrikant, Sai Krishna, Sai, Nandini, Jagannath, Adishesha, Kishore. Yeah, yes, no doubts. Yeah, fine. Then, sir, we have seen translators also. What is meant by translators? Have you observed translator? The general meaning of translator is nothing but, sir, which will convert one form of data into another form. So, if you are converting form 1 to form 2, so form 1 means any format, form 2 means any format. So here we can use this translator. We can use this translator to convert from one form to another form. So here, what is the main purpose in this programming language means which will convert human readable code into mission understandable code. Sir, if I want to convert human readable code into mission understandable code, then we have to go for these translators. Sir, what is the main agenda of translator? It will convert human readable code into mission understandable code. That's all. So there are number of translators available in the market. At top level, we can divide it into two types. One is a compiler and second one is interpreter. More or less, the concept of compiler and interpreter both are same. So the job of the compiler and interpreter is to convert the main theme. Main theme of these two is nothing but it will convert human readable code into mission understandable code. That's all. But with one small difference. What is that difference? Is the compiler is going to read the total program at a time, whereas interpreter is going to read line by line. So what is the beauty of this? Very simple, sir. If you are a beginner, or if you don't know anything about the program, you are not that much strong in that programming language, then such a type of programming languages will take these compilers. Okay, so what is the main purpose? The chance of errors are very high. That's why compiler will always find out the difficulties and it will throw to the programmer. Whereas coming to the interpreter, what is the use of this interpreter is nothing but it is going to read the data line by line. So the problem with this interpreter is it is going to read line by line. At a time, we will get only one error. Suppose if your program is consisting of 10 lines. So if in the program, if you are having three errors, at a time you are going to get only one error. After rectifying the first error, then only the control will be transferred to the next error. Why? Because so it is going to read the data line by line. So if you want to do such a type of implementation, then it is always recommended to go for interpreter. Just a minute. Please be on the lines. I will connect my chat. That is the main purpose of these compilers and then interpreters. So when we have to go for compiler and when we have to go for interpreter. So yeah. So which is best translator, whether compiler or interpreter, which is the best translator? Sir, if your program error rate is very high, so if you are having more number of errors in your programming language, then compiler based programming language you have to use. So if your error rate is very less, then automatically you can go for interpreter. Why? Because so if you don't have any errors, then interpreter is the best choice. So if you are having more number of errors, then compiler is best. If you are having less number of errors, interpreter is best. So there are few programming languages which supports compiler, and there are few programming language which supports interpreter. The entire story about these translators will give a conclusion that Python is very easy programming language. So because it uses which concept? Python is an example for interpreter. Python is an example for interpreter programming language. So because of this interpreter technology, so very less number of instructions and very less code is required, and we won't get any errors. We won't get any errors. So error rate is very less. That's why so happily we can go with this Python. So Python is very easy programming language from this conclusion. So please confirm up to this. Do you have any doubts? So till now we discussed only three things, that is programming language, types of programming languages, and the translators. Please confirm so that we will continue. Just a minute. Yeah. So now, so next, coming to the next topic, so which we discussed in the last session is just we implemented a program in C, C++, Java, and Python. So for concluding that Python is a very easy programming language. So let us see. So first we have seen a program that is a hello world program in C language. So this is nothing but a sample program which will print a hello world using C language. So we need to take hash include stdio.h and we are required to write a main function. Within these curly braces, we have to take the instructions, and this printf is a function which is used to print this particular message on the screen. I think you know about this terminator, that is semicolon. So if you run this program on any online compiler or offline compilers, we will get hello world using C language. Already we have seen this execution also. Just let it be a minute. I will show the execution. Yeah. So if you click on execute button, you can see the output of this program on my screen. That is on the result screen. So this is the way how can you use C program execution. Then coming to the C++, same concept. If you want to implement in C++, just we need to take iostream.h and the namespaces. So in the place of void main, we have to take int main. Why? Because it is a Linux-based programming language. The return type must be always integer. Then in the place of printf, here the syntax uses cout, cout. So cout hello world using C++, and we have to return some value, that is 1. Now, if we execute this particular program in C++ compiler, yeah. So once if you click on execute button, you can see hello world using C++. This is the way how can we execute this C++ program. And coming to the Java, let me open Java compiler. So all the concepts which I am telling now is already discussed in the last session. Just I am revising the topics in few minutes. So once if you click on execute button, you can see this hello Java on my result panel. So here public class, my class, you have to take the class name, then public static void main. So within main method, we have to print the system.out.println hello Java. So if you want to learn minimum Java first program itself, so you need to understand all these concepts. That's why, so learning Java is very difficult compared with Python. So that's why I'm explaining all these programs, how difficulty is there in the C language and C++ and then Java. But coming to the Python, writing Python program is very dead easy. Have you observed here? Within a single line, you can finish the task. Yeah. So you can see here, just print off hello Python, how are you? Once if you click on execute button, directly you're going to get the answer. So even anybody can understand this particular single line of instruction. So here, no need to take any main method or no need to take any class, public, static, such type of terminology is not at all required in Python. So simply we can write the code. So this is nothing but a program in C, C++, Java, and Python. Up to this, do you have any doubts? Please confirm. Yeah. So next, coming to the next one, introduction to the Python. So we have seen introduction to the Python. So who introduced the Python and all these things I covered. So coming to the Python, it is a general purpose. It is a general purpose high level programming language. So why it is general purpose? Everywhere we are using Python. Nowadays Python is very popular. Everywhere we are using this Python. Sir, I want to develop a software. First choice will be given to Python. Why? Because such type of easy understandable code will be there inside the Python, and it is a high level programming language. Just now I told the instructions are very high level. Just we need to do our job. That's all. Rest of the things is not in our hand. That's why Python is a general purpose and a high level programming language. Then, sir, how many lines of the code we have to write? So when you take the Python, it contains very less code. In our software terminology, we can use like concise code. So which required very less number of instructions. Even I have seen one example. I explained one example related to that. Have you observed math? Import math dot factorial of int of input. So this program will read an input from the user and it is converting that input into integer format, and for that integer we are calculating factorial. Unfortunately, this factorial method is inbuilt method in Python, which is available in math module. Just I am importing that math module and I am calculating. Have you observed how many lines of the code we do? Only 2 lines. But if you take C, C++, Java, minimum we require to write 5 to 6 lines only to calculate this factorial function. Now, then if you run the program, so I will execute in the command prompt. I will execute in the command prompt. So already it is there in one folder, that is py. So the command used to run your Python program is py space test.py. Once if you run, your program output will be displayed. Have you observed it is waiting for the input? Suppose if I am giving input as a 5, 5 factorial is 120. Suppose if I am giving input as a 4, 4 factorial is 24. So like this we are going to, okay. So this is the thing which we discussed in the last session. Then, so third point related to the Python. So it contains rich set of library support is there in Python. So if you want to do any operation, first step what we require is we have to import respective libraries or we have to link respective libraries. So rich set of library is there in Python. By using that libraries, happily we can do the coding. Okay. So everything is inbuiltly supportable by the Python. So here, even we explained with the help of a small program. Let me give me a minute. So here we have written a program to generate OTP. We know that OTP means one-time password. So we are writing a Python program just to generate a one-time password. Have you observed here? There is one inbuilt module is there. What is that module? Random. Sir, if you print random dot rand integer of, I want a three-digit OTP number. Sir, from we have to give beginning and then ending value. Have you observed beginning value is nothing but 100, ending value is nothing but 999. So in between these two numbers only, we will get three-digit numbers. So now let me execute the program. Have you observed? I am executing py space test.py. The answer which I am going to get is 380. So first time is 380. Second time I am running. Have you observed? 250. Third time I am running. Have you observed? 218. Like this, if you run multiple times, every time you are going to get a fresh value. Every time you are going to get a fresh value, which is nothing but random value it is choosing. Random value it is selecting from. So here you can see, just I implemented a logic. How can we validate voting? So first we have to store the variable, store the random number which was generated by this random int value in a integer variable called x, and send this x value to the mobile or mail ID. We have to send this x value to the mobile or mail ID and ask that particular person, that is a client, to accept that particular number and let us store it in file. So if x value is equal to the y, then we can print that it is a valid and we can give the access. Okay. If x value is not equal to y, then simply we can print it is a invalid OTP and we have to terminate the code. So like this, we can write a program just for OTP verification. So I'm explaining this tool. Why? Because a rich set of library support is there in the Python. Then, so who introduced Python? Have you observed one person, famous person is there, Guido van Rossum. He developed Python software. So official date of birth of Python software is 20th February 1991. So in the 1991 February 28th, so they released the first version of Python software into the market, executable Python version. Then Python is recommended as a first programming language for beginners. So if any person is trying to learn the programming language, then happily you can suggest Python as the first programming language, because such easiness will be there in the Python. Then Python is a dynamically typed programming language. So why Python is selected as a dynamically typed? Very simple. If you take C or C++ or Java instructions, suppose to declare a simple variable, we need to take an instruction like this: integer x is equal to 10. So if you split this particular instruction, we will get totally 5 parts. First one is integer, which represents data type, and second one is x, which is representing name of the variable, and equal to, which is nothing but an assignment operator, 10, which is nothing but a constant or literal, and semicolon, which is used as a terminator or end of the expression. So such a type of thing we required in the case of C, C++, and Java. Same thing if you consider in Python, simply we have to take x is equal to 10. So which talks about only three parts. What is the first part? X, which represent name of the variable, and equal to, which is nothing but assignment operator, 10, which represent constant value. So where is the value of 10? Where is the value of 10? Which type it is? So in Python, based on the value which you are giving, the type will be decided automatically. Based on the type of value which we are giving, the type will be decided automatically. That's why Python is called as dynamically typed programming language. That is the reason why Python is called as dynamically typed programming language. Then, sir, what is the official website for Python? So python.org is the official website where you can see Python documentation and everything will be there in this website. Sir, how many versions of Python are available? So totally there are three versions are available. Python 1.x and 2.x, almost those are ended. we are not at all using these two versions in our regular projects. Coming to the latest version, it is 3.x. Currently, we are using this particular version. So in this Python 3.x, multiple divisions are there, starting from 3.1 to 3.9. The latest version is 3.9. So version to version, there may be small enhancements will be there. So even I showed one example program. So to perform addition of two numbers in general, so we want to take this underscore. Generally, addition of two numbers means we will take like this. X is equal to 10,000, Y is equal to 20,000. So if you run the program, have you observed the answer which we are going to get is 30,000. Just a minute. Yeah, if you run py space test.py, so we will get 30,000 as your answer. So 30,000 means addition of these two numbers. Now I want to separate this. So you know in mathematics we will separate by using comma, but here we should not use comma. We have to take underscore. So do you know this concept is introduced in 3.6 version of Python. So it is valid in 3.6 version of Python. So from the 3.6 version onwards, you can take this underscore. Before that underscore is not there. So let me show you. So if I am running this program in 3.5 version, so how can I execute that particular program in 3.5 version? Very simple. Py space hyphen 3.5 space test.py. Now the test.py program will be executed in which version? 3.5 version. Now, if you press enter, you can see we will get error, syntax error, invalid syntax. So, same program, let me execute in 3.6. Have you observed? The answer which you are going to get is 30,000. So, the program is same, but behavior is different with respect to 3.5 version, and with respect to 3.6 version, it is behaving like some. Okay. So, in this 3.6, they introduced this particular concept like this version to version, some small enhancements will be there. So then very important thing that you have to concentrate is, sir, the biggest problem for any programmer is nothing but these curly brackets and semicolon. So maximum, even if I am taking the programs, minimum I will get one or two times error only on this opening and closing brackets, and then this is semicolon. So because Python almost they are not at all using these two things in the programming. So we don't have any curly braces to represent the blocks and semicolons to terminate the instructions in Python. That's why even if you see, you can't identify any semicolon. So there is no semicolon in Python. So these are the concepts, okay, which we discussed in the last session. That is nothing but, yeah, programming language, types of programming language, translators, programs in C, C++, Java, and Python, and introduction to the Python. So these are the things which we discussed in the last session. So in this core Python, just I started explaining these modules, that is programming language, types of programming language, translators, and then program in C, C++, Java, and Python, and the introduction to the Python programming. Up to this, do you have any doubts? You can ask. Yeah, just around 30 minutes I spent only to explain the concepts which I covered in the last session, that is yesterday's session. Now we will take one more hour to explain current topic, and then we will continue from the next week. Yeah. Classes, Jagannath Adishesha. The classes will be on almost all the versions. See, we are concentrating the topics which cover almost all the versions. Okay, so even in some situations, like just now I explained, right? a program which is valid in 3.6 and which is invalid in 3.5. Such type of bullet programs we will discuss meanwhile, but the concepts are same. In 3.x version, almost all the concepts are same. We will cover almost all the versions, don't worry. Yeah, okay. Any other doubts, please? Yeah, any doubts? Kishore, Nandini, Sai Krishna, Srikanth. Yeah. So the next thing which I am going to explain is, yeah, next topic. Yeah, I'm adding these topics in this today's session. Listen carefully. So first we are going to discuss about keywords, and then we will discuss on identifiers, and then we will start and we will take a few concepts, that is data types. Okay, sir, you said data types concept is not there in Python, but you are keeping heading as a data types. Don't worry. As a programmer, we have to know what are the different types of data are there in Python. But as a programmer, we won't supply the data types to the compiler or interpreter. Why? Because our interpreter is going to recognize the type automatically. That's why no need to supply. Okay. Now, yeah. So let me go with the new fresh topics, that is keywords and identifiers. Let me start. Keyword. So what is meant by these keywords? So as the name itself explains that keyword means very important word. Okay. So it is also called as reserved word, or we can call it as, what is another name for this is nothing but we can also call it as predefined word, or also we can use the word called keyword. All the names are same. So the meaning of this word is fixed, in programming language. So inside a programming language, for some words they will fix the meaning. So at any situation, we are not at all having any rights to change the meaning of that particular word. So such type of words are called as keywords. The meaning is always fixed. We can't change the meaning of this particular word. So such type of words are called as keywords. In Python, is there any keywords like that? Yes, just like C, C++, Java, even in Python also we have the keywords. So total, how to define these particular keywords and what are all the rules and regulations means, make sure in Python, sir, there are 33 keywords are there. 33 keywords are there. So all these keywords must be written in lower case. So we have to take all these keywords in lower case, except the following three. Except the following three. Sir, what are all those three keywords? First one, true, true. Second one, false. Third one, none. Sir, for these three words, beginning letter we have to start with a capital. Rest of the things you can take anything. So beginning letter you have to take it as a capital. Rest of the things you can take anything. So that means T is capital letter, F is capital letter, N is capital letter. Rest of the things you can take anything that is small letters. Okay. So except these three, remaining all the 30 keywords, it should be in completely lowercase. Then only it is valid. So now I don't know what are the keywords available. Sir, can you list out all these 33, and is it possible to remember all these keywords? No. So we are not in C or C++ or Java programming to remember all these keywords. So even our Python is providing one predefined module. The name of the module is nothing but keyword, so which contains list of keywords. Have you observed? Python is a user-friendly, programmer-friendly programming language. Why? Because Python itself is providing a program just to fetch the name of the keywords. Have you observed? Just I will write a program, example program. Okay, so to print a list of keywords, sir, I want to know what are all the list of keywords are there. Is it possible to fetch? Yes, you can write a program. So how we are going to write the program? See here, easy program only. Now, sir, first import that keyword module. Import that keyword module and print. So keyword dot kw list. In print import dot kw list. Sir, it will print list of keywords. Have you observed? Let me execute in normal version. It will take the default version as 3.9. Have you observed? These are all the keywords which we have. These are all the keywords which we have. If you want, you can copy paste. These are all the keywords. So have you observed false, none, true, okay, page parser, break, class, global, return, try, etc. etc. So what is the program for this? Just so let me copy paste, import the keyword, print the keyword dot kw list, which will list out all the keywords which we have in Python. Okay. Sir, is it possible to remember this? No, no need. Just you can take a program which will print the entire information. This is about the list of keywords and the program to fetch all this information. Can you tell? It is very easy, I think so. Okay. Yeah. Do you have any doubts on this? Please confirm. Do you have any doubts on this? Please confirm. If you have any doubts, we will rectify and we will continue. Yeah, don't unmute your mics. Please put it in chat window. Any doubts? Yes, I request everyone to respond. Only few people are responding. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, so let me go with the next topic. What is the next topic? Is identifiers. So opposite for this word keywords is called as identifier. Keyword means it is already defined in the system. Keyword means it is already defined in the system. Sir, I want to define my own. I want to define my own word. So user can provide its own word, which is called as identifier. Sir, identifiers are used for identification purpose. Sir, I want to identify something. For that identification purpose, we can go for these identifiers. Okay, so suppose it may be a variable name. Okay, I want to declare a variable name. We can identify, or I want to take a method name, or I want to take a function name, or I want to take a class name. Okay, or I want to take a module name. Yes, everything will come under identifier. Sir, for your identification purpose, if you are using any word, such type of words are comes under these identifiers. Sir, is it possible to define our own identifier? Yes, you have to do the task. And while writing these identifiers, my Python is strictly providing some rules and regulations. We have to follow these rules and regulations while constructing the identifiers. Sir, what are all the rules? So have you observed first rule, the allowed digits are, sir, which digits you have to take, or we can say the allowed characters. Yeah, we need to take allowed symbols are. Sir, what are all the things that you can take? Sir, you can take small a to small z, You can take capital A to capital Z. You can take 0 to 9. You can take 0 to 9. Okay, so you can take underscore also. You can take underscore also. So rest of the things you should not take care. Then second rule, so at the beginning, at the first or at the beginning. So better I will take like this. It should not begin with a digit. So at any cost, you should not begin with a digit. That is the rule number two. So if any identifier is beginning with alphabet, I mean a digit, it is invalid. It is invalid identifier. So we should not begin with a digit. Okay. Then identifiers are identifiers are case sensitive. That means it will treat lowercase letters and uppercase letters as different. It will treat lowercase letters and uppercase letters as different. Suppose if I am taking like this name, okay, and one more variable like this name. Sir, if these two variables are same or different? Different. Make sure it is different. Why? Because first one is completely in the lowercase. Second one is first letter started with the capital letter like this. Sir, rule number four. Rule number four. Sir, we should not use, okay, so we can't use reserved words. That means keywords. We should not use reserved words as identifiers. Sir, at any cost, you should not use these reserved words. Then, sir, what is the fifth rule? Have you observed here? What is the fifth rule? Is nothing but okay. Practically, there is no length limit. There is no length limit. Sir, any number of characters you can take. So these are the 5 rules strictly we have to follow while constructing the identifiers. If you are not following at least one rule, then immediately my Python is going to raise an error message. Any doubts up to this? Theoretically, do you have any doubts? Please confirm so that we will move practically. Yeah. Okay, Jagannath. Yes. Now see here. Let me take some examples so that you can understand very clear. The first I am taking first example. Yes, listen carefully. Sir, ABC, ABC. Can you tell, is it a valid identifier or invalid identifier? Please confirm. The persons who are in the class, please respond. Can you tell, is it valid or invalid? ABC. Ayo. Yes, good, good. So it is valid. Yes, valid. Next I am taking, yes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Python. 1, 2, 3 Python. Can you tell, is it valid? Yes, make sure. Yes, good. It is invalid. Why? Because it is not satisfying rule number two. Very good. The third one, I am taking Python 1, 2, 3. Is it valid? Yes, good. It is valid. Why? Because at the ending or at the middle, you can take the digits, but first we should not take the digit. Then fourth example. If I am taking, can you tell, is it valid? All right. Yeah, make sure it is invalid. Why? Because sir, if is a keyword, okay, sir, I am taking like this I capital. Can you tell now, is it valid? Oh, great, good. Means it is valid. Why? Because uh, keyword means complete lowercase letters we have to take, but here we have taken beginning as a uppercase. That's why it is not a keyword. So happily we can take it as identifier. No issues at all. Then, sir, sixth one. So I'm taking like this. Maybe, yeah, ABC, okay, or let me take student ID. Can you tell, is it valid? Hmm? Valid or invalid? Yes. make sure it is invalid. The reason is space is not there. Space is not allowed. Okay, but we have taken a space. How can you treat it as a single word? That is the biggest problem. So then, so next seventh one. If I want to take student ID, how it is possible? No problem. You can separate with underscore. That is the reason why underscore is introduced. Then, sir, I am taking at the rate amount. Can you tell is it valid or invalid? At the rate amount. Yeah, make sure it is invalid. Why? Because at the rate symbol is not allowed. Then the next one I am taking. Okay, sorry, underscore ABC. Can you tell is it valid or invalid? Make sure valid. Sir, at the beginning we can't take digit, but at the beginning you can take alphabets and underscore also, no problem at all. Then tenth one. So make sure just I am taking X dollar Y. Can you tell is it valid? Yeah. Yes, Adisesha. Yes, it is invalid. Why? Because dollar symbol is not specified. Then, yeah, Sai Krishna, correct. Nandini. So you are telling it is a valid, but make sure it is invalid. Okay. So why? Because at the beginning itself I told, right, the only allowed symbols are small a to small z, capital A to capital Z, 0 to 9, and so on. But make sure here there is one small twist is there. I want to cover that. Note. Sir, X dollar Y is invalid in Python, but valid in Java. Okay, the persons who are coming from Java, they must have a knowledge on this. So dollar special symbol is allowed for identifiers, but it is not entertained in Python. Okay, any doubts up to this? Please confirm. Any doubts? Any doubts? Yeah. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. Don't unmute your mic. Please put it in a chat window. Yeah. So the next topic. So Python programming language, types of programming languages, translators, an example program, and we covered introduction, keywords we finished, identifiers we finished. Now the biggest topic that we are discussing now is nothing but data types. Yeah. Can you tell what are the data types that we have even in some other programming languages? Do you have any idea about data types? If you know any concept, please ping me the data types which you know. Yes, I request everyone to respond. Yes, good. String, long integer, boolean, int float character, good. String, yeah, double, good, good. Okay. Sir, all these are valid with respect to C, C++, Java, but in Python, trust me, there are only few number of keywords, sorry, few number of data types are there. So we are very lucky to have these data types. Why? Because divisions won't be there. Everything in this Python is an object. So before going to the data types, just I want to cover few important points. Listen carefully. So everything in Python is an object. Have you observed? Everything is an object. Sir, how you are telling this word? Very simple. Let me have one example. Sir, I am taking x is equal to 10. Print of x. Have you observed? The answer which you are going to get is, okay, 10. Sir, 10 is it available in memory? Is it available in heap memory or stack memory, or which memory? Make sure this is available in the memory in the form of object. It is available in the form of object, not in the form of variable. Sir, I am not getting this point. Can you repeat it once? No problem. Let me take that number like this. Let me take the number like this. Have you observed a bigger number I have took? Sir, if you print same answer we are going to get or not? Yes, of course. Have you observed the same number we got? If you count the number of zeros, it is going to match. Okay, so that means this entire data is not stored in the variables RAM, ROM, cache memory. Okay, what you can call heap memory, stack memory. These memories are not having sufficient storage to store this information. That's why, so Python is going to take this entire information in the object. That's why we can able to print. Even if you are writing factorial, I think in the yesterday's session I explained. If you are taking math dot factorial of 10, sir, no problem, we can get. But few programming languages won't provide support. Sir, I want to calculate a factorial for 50. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. This is not a multiple numbers. It is a single number only. So if you calculate, we will get this answer just for 50 factorial. So 50 factorial is resulted result value is stored in an object format. That's why in Python everything is nothing but an object. Now, sir, there are three important functions that you have to observe. Three important functions in Python. Sir, what are those three important functions? So now see here, first function is print of obj. Print of obj. So it will print obj's value on the screen. Sir, I want to print object value on the screen. Then no problem. You can go for this. I mean, what you can call print function. Then, sir, ID of obj. ID of obj. Sir, this ID of obj will return the address of an object. So for object, it will return address. Something like in C language, we come across pointers, right? The same state. So I want to know the type of object. Is it possible to fetch? Yes. Why can't? It returns the type of object. The type of object which we are using. Yeah. Please confirm. Up to this, do you have any doubts? Please confirm theoretically. Don't worry, slowly I will go with the program. Yeah, just a minute. I will be back. Just a minute. Yeah, Srikanth is asking one doubt. Srikanth, let me show Srikanth's doubt. Sir, why other programming are not supporting factor of 50? Sir, very simple. Factorial of 50 means a bigger value we are going to get. But do you know the RAM size is very big, a very small amount of RAM size will be there. If it is 1 GB or if it is a 2 GB, then we need to uh, please confirm. Am I audible? Is my voice is audible to you? Please confirm. Please confirm. Am I audible? Yes, audible. Okay. Yeah. So why other programs not supports factor 50? So very simple. If other programming languages are providing support for 50 factorial, then how much big number we have to take? So this particular number you have to consider. So this particular biggest number we have to store it in the memory. Sir, is it possible to store this memory? Means it is highly impossible. It is highly impossible to store this number. The reason is, sir, if you want to support this much larger value in your RAM, then so full memory is occupied only to store this value, only to store this value. So because of this facility, so Python is not, I mean, Java or C or C++ is not providing support to store this much memory values for the user. There may be a chance of crashing of your system. That is the reason. Okay. So hope Srikanth, your doubt got clarified. Why other programming languages? Uh, yeah, Sai Krishna is asking one doubt. Yeah, now you are informed. Yes, good. Like this, you have to ask. Sir, can we get a negative factorial value? Highly impossible. If you are trying to get a negative value, suppose assume I am passing factorial of -5. See what will happen? Immediately, my Python is going to raise an error. Okay. In the Python definition itself is told that we can't take negative values. Have you observed? If you take, we are going to get value error saying factorial is not defined for negative values. For negative numbers, we can't calculate factorial like that. Okay. So even you can cross check the documentation of this factorial. So print off. Okay. So math dot factorial, math dot factorial dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. Just I am trying to fetch documentation, that is a description about the function. Have you observed? Once if you run, if it is giving an information, find x factorial, raise a value error if x is negative or non-integral. If you are passing non-integral type, that means other than integers, if you are passing any value, we will get error. And even if you are passing negative value, then we are going to get which error? Value error. Okay. Yes, Python is not using RAM. Internally, it is using RAM, but everything is in the form of object. Object will be loaded into the RAM. Only that the object address will be there, not the content. But in C, C++, content will be loaded into the RAM. Performance-wise, somewhat C, C++, Java programs are best, but advantages are there as well as disadvantages are there. Yeah. Any doubts? Please confirm. Yeah. In the objects only. The objects only. Main memory. Main memory. The hard disk, main memory, the results are going to store. See here. Suppose if you take RAM, if you take RAM like this is the capacity of RAM. Okay. So in C or C++, here the data is going to be stored, integer value, float value, character value. But in Python, an object will be created, that the object address, maybe suppose if it is 173, that address alone will be stored in this memory. So if you want to access, you have to identify this address and you have to access. But the content will be stored in a separate main memory. Okay. But in C or C++, content itself is available in the RAM. That's why accessing the data from RAM is very fast, but accessing the data from the main memory is very less. But as well as disadvantages, advantages matters a lot in every programming language. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Now, Sir, for this printing object, ID of object, type of object, let me have one example program. Okay, so that you can understand clearly. So here, I want to store x is equal to 10. Print of x. Sir, what will happen? That x value will be printed on the screen. If you execute this program, observe here, py space test.py. Now we observed the answer is nothing but 10. 10 will come. Sir, I want to check what is the type of x. What is the type of x? Sir, I am assuming that it is of type integer. Why? Because we know about int type, right? That's why it is of type class int. It is of type class int. The persons who are coming from the Java background, now they can analyze that 10 is an object. Why? Because it is of type class integer. Now, sir, I want to know what is the address ID of x. Sir, we will get a random value from runtime to runtime. Now, if I am executing, have you observed 10? It is of type class integer, and this is nothing but ID. This is nothing but ID. Sir, if you run second time, we will get one more value. Immediately, it is going to delete the previous content and it will be stored in the new value. So, like that, runtime to runtime, its value is going to be changed. Okay. So, random value, we can't predict the value. So, like this, it is going to change. Okay. So, any doubts up to this? Please confirm. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, now. So next, let me go with the ID concept. A beautiful concept is there, but let me go with one more example program. So example number one. Now let's have another example. Another example. So now in the place of x 10.52 I am taking. Now if you print, we will get 10.52 and the type. Can you guess what is the type of this data? Please confirm. Anybody? What is the type of this data? Try to guess. Use your previous programming language platform. Number. It is not a number. Yeah, good. It is a floating point. Yeah, it is of type floating point. Let me cross check with the output. So now if you run, we will get the answer as 10.52 and it is of type floating point. Have you observed the address is nothing but different. So the type is a float. Subdivisions are not there. Like in C language, we have float double. Such type of terminology is not there. Just integer type. Subdivisions are not there. Why? Because integer data type is going to support the data from minus infinite to plus infinite. Similarly, floating point value, anything you can take. That's why subdivisions are not there. Next example number 3. So now consider I have a data like this. Yeah, I have a data like this. So if you print, we will get A. Can you tell what is the type of data? Please confirm. Yes. Yeah. Kishore, I hope you already having some knowledge. Yes, Kishore. Jagannath. Yeah, good. We will get the answer as string. String. Have you observed? If you run, we will get a string. Okay. Now, sir, my question is, take a bit concentrate. Sir, I am taking a small change here. Sir, in the place of A, I am taking B, but I have taken in a single quotation. Anyway, the answer is B. But now my question is it a string or character? Please confirm. Yes, please confirm. Is it a string or character? Yes, make sure it is a string. Character data type is not there in Python. If you want, you can cross check. We will get a B and it is of type str. So that means characters and strings both are same in Python. We can use these two. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts up to this? Please confirm. Okay. So next, one more important factor related to this ID. So we covered a few examples to explain the concept of print function and then type function. Now let me go with ID. So consider I am taking a variable called x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20. So now I am printing the ID of x and then I am printing the ID of y. Now see, we are going to get different values, different values. So here we will get some random number 1 and here we are going to get some random value 2 and assume it is random value 1. Okay, let me cross check. Let me cross check. Have you observed? The answer is nothing but observe the last three digits 584904. So like this we got random values. Okay, now that means if you represent these things in the diagram, you can see like this. So first a memory location got created. What is the content with the content at 10? What is the name of this memory location is nothing but x. X is pointing to this memory. Now, sir, another memory location got created. What is the name of the memory location? Y. And what is the content in this memory location is nothing but 20. Now, what I am going to do is, so I will create one more memory location Z with content at 10. So now I am capturing ID of that particular Z, ID of that particular Z, ID of Z. So now, can you tell, is it going to print random value 3 or we will get random value 1? Please confirm which value we are going to get. Yes, good. Random value 3. What about remaining? What about remaining? Yeah. See here. So based on the answer, we will come to a conclusion. See here. Have you observed 376, 376? If you observe, the first memory location is repeated for the next time also. That is nothing but the beauty of Python. We will get random value 1. That means if the data is already available, instead of creating new memory location, it will use the existing memory location. So this is nothing but something like Z is also pointing to the same memory location. Can you tell, is it advantage feature or disadvantage? Please confirm. Is it advantage feature or disadvantage? Yes, advantage. Yeah, yes. Values will be created first and then variables. See here, we should not use the term called variable. Here we have to use the term called object. Object. Okay. Saving memory. Yeah. Yes. So advantage is there. At the same time, disadvantage is there. What is the disadvantage is, have you observed here? Assume x, z is pointing to the content at 10. Now, sir, what is happening is, assume the person X is trying to change the content at 10 to 11. Okay. Now, what will happen? The same information, the same changes will be affected for Z also, but Z don't want this updation. So, if any one person is trying to modify the memory location, the same information or the same content will be supplied or will be updated to all the objects, which may create some kind of complexities. That's why. So in this feature, advantage is there, at the same time disadvantages is there. That's why Python is categorized into these two types. We can provide advantage feature also with this memory, and a disadvantage feature also with this memory. That's why. So in the soon classes, we will discuss how to handle this scenario. There are few important terminologies are there. With that we can handle. So what is the terminology is? Let me give the topic name title first. Later we will discuss. Have you observed something like mutable and immutable concepts? So mutable means, so if you want to provide, if you want to allow the modifications, then you can go for this mutable. Sir, I don't want to allow the modification, then you can go for this immutable. Both the features we can use simultaneously to overcome these advantages as well as disadvantages. Please confirm. Up to this, do we have any doubts? So that we will continue. Yes, please confirm. Yeah. Yeah. Just a minute. Yeah. So next, yeah, 10 and 10.0. Some people are asking 10 and 10.0. Just give me a minute. So 10, and here I am going to take y is equal to 10.0. Can you tell first? Let me consider the types. Then you can understand. Can you tell what is a type of x and what is a type of y? Can you please tell what is a type of x and what is a type of y? Please confirm. Yes. X and then y. Same type or different type? Yeah, different type. Let me execute. Different type. One is integer, another one is float. Definitely, it is going to take different IDs, I think. Let me cross check. Why? Because the types are different, right? That's why different memory location it is going to put. So x is equal to 10. It is of type integer. That's why a separate memory location. Y is also 10. but the 10 is of type 10.0 is of type floating point. Type is changed, that's why immediately so it is going to store the data in next memory location. Okay, so I hope, yeah, you got it. Fine. Yeah. So the next topic, yeah. So now we are entering into the data type. So I already told that Java is dynamically typed programming language. Python is dynamically typed programming language. That means no need to take the data type, automatically the type will be assigned. So what are all the basic data types available? Do you know integer? Second one is a float. Third one is complex. Fourth one is fourth one is string str. Fifth one is boolean. So sixth one is bytes. Okay, something like arrays. Byte array. Okay. Eighth one is a list. Ninth one is a tuple. So tenth one is a set. 11th one is a frozen set. So 12th one is a dict. 13th one is something like a range. 14th one is a none. These are the different types of data types which are available. So data types in Python, data types in Python. So integer, float, complex, string, boolean, bytes, byte array, tuple, set, frozen set, dict, range, and then none. So in these first five are basic data types. First five are basic data types, but rest of the things are data structures and which is very complex types. That means we can consider immutable objects as well as mutable objects. Both the facilities are there with this. Okay, so these are nothing but the data types which we have in Python. So in the next session we will start about these basic data types. So in the next session we are going to finish these data types as a first part. So these are the things which we covered till now. So now it's your time to ask the doubts. Any doubts from this session? Just we revised the topics which we discussed in the last demo session, and then keywords identifiers. Just the basic knowledge on the data types I provided. In detail, we will discuss in the next session. Okay. Any doubts? Please confirm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, within 5 weekends we will end up. I think in the last session itself I provided the timing. So on every Saturday and Sunday, on every Saturday and Sunday, timings are from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So with 20 or 30 minutes break. Don't worry, based on the content we will plan. So with 20 or 30 minutes break, we will have a session. Okay. Yeah, within 5 weekends we are going to finish because already these type of batches are going on with us. Yeah, trust me, we will finish. So I think you have that link, syllabus link also. I will share it in your group. Yeah, we will share the notes. We will share the notes and regarding links. Yes, yes. Yes, Jagannath, we will get videos. Any queries? What about remaining? Yeah, so that's all about today's session. So already these recording videos will be uploaded in the YouTube. You can check our YouTube channel. The first two demo sessions will be there. From the next week onwards, we won't upload in the YouTube channel. So you will get the recording links, those who finish the payment. Okay. For payment related issues and accessing the videos, just contact our admin people. I hope you are already having the numbers. If not, bring a mail to durgasoftonline@gmail.com. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. See you in the next session. Thank you. You can leave the session. Thank you.